Okay, good morning everybody. I'm Tim Stauffer with the Iola Register, and I'm here with Wanda Kneen. Wanda, would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Wanda Kneen. I'm a registered nurse with Psychiatric Medical Care. I'm the Program Director for Senior Life Solutions, which is a outpatient psychotherapy program for senior citizens 65 and older based out at Allen County Regional Hospital.
And we're here today to talk about Mental Health Awareness Month. We spoke with Nathan Fossen of SEK Mental Health Center on Monday, and this is the second of our conversations with community leaders who work with mental health and are really taking the charge to promote Mental Health Awareness Month here in the community. So Wanda, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you are doing to celebrate or to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month?
Okay, so for Mental Health Awareness Month, Senior Life Solution programs, we're getting out, we are encouraging people to paint rocks green, green's the color for mental health awareness, and put them at the Bolus Fine Arts Fountain. You can write something on there, like I put Mental Health Matters on my rock, but things like that to bring awareness to mental health issues and illnesses, and put those up around the fountain at the Bolus Fine Arts Center, and we'll have a nice big like bouquet of green rocks there, if you want to say.
There's already a ton.
There are a lot of colorful rocks there. The other thing we're doing is trying to put something out in the community that catches your eye and makes you feel good. So I'm promoting Feel Good Flamingos, and I have just received my shipment, which got delayed with the COVID-19 delivery, but we will be putting flamingos out around the community, and these are feel-good flamingos. And what I'm encouraging people to do is to get out, take a picture with the flamingo, post it on social media with a comment about mental health issues and this type of thing, so people that are aware that this is out there. Flamingos, you know why flamingos in the area, they're not something we see around. So you see a nice pretty pink flamingo, you're like, oh look, the flamingo's there. The other thing is flamingos balance on one leg. And mental health and your physical health can be a balancing act for a lot of people. Trying to, put out at the front that they're okay when they're not okay. So it's a balancing act a lot of times that people are putting on to that have mental illness. So I kind of focused on the flamingo as my go-to thing to make us feel good. And so do get out there when you see them, take a picture with them, post them on social media. You can hashtag the hospital so that we can see that people are out there doing this, looking at those to make you more aware of mental health issues.
It seems to me like what you're doing is trying to make mental health and the conversation around it a little bit more visible.
Exactly.
What's the stigma around it? Where does the silence come from, and what are the consequences of that silence?
A lot of thing is people don't want to talk about mental illness because they think it's a weakness in them, and if they say I've got a mental illness, then they get labeled or they get this stigma that oh, they've got a mental illness, stay away from me or whatever. That's not true. Everybody feels depressed once in a while, and right now we've got 1 in 5 people suffering with a mental illness.
Right now,
and it's getting worse because of COVID-19. So we want people to talk about it and talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your healthcare providers, because the one thing about mental illnesses is they are treatable and you don't have to suffer. And so get out there and seek help. It's not something to be ashamed of, and we should not label people with them and make them feel weak or isolated or whatever. We want them to know there's help out there, and sometimes just talking to somebody can help that. So if you see the flamingo, you take the picture, you post it, it's like you put a word out there. It's like, I'm feeling better, look at this guy, he's making me happy, or just talking to other people so that it's not something that you have to live with alone and suffer with.
One thing that I really appreciated that Nathan Fossen shared on Monday was going back to that idea of weakness. And he said, it actually takes great strength to reach out for help. The tendency is to suffer in silence and to bear these crosses on our own. And he said that, you kind of flip that for me in a way that I thought was very important, in saying, no, actually it's a sign of strength to seek counsel. That's what wise people do, is they reach out. They don't just try and do it all on their own.
I think one of the things too that we see in older people is that we were brought up, you don't air your problems, you live with them. It's expected. Depression is not something that comes along with getting older. We don't have to be depressed as we get older. It's not normal part of aging. And there is help out there, no matter what age you are and what group you are, that you can seek help and feel better about yourself.
And so you work with olders, 65
I work with
and older.
65 and older.
What are some of the problems or obstacles or issues that you see olders dealing with that you feel are heightened or more present in that population as opposed to a younger crowd?
Okay, a lot of these people have just had a loss. Maybe they lost their spouse of 50 or 60 years, or they've had a major life change. And these are things that they need help adjusting with. Maybe they've lost their home. They're now living in assisted living, or they're living in a senior apartment or something, or they've lost a loved one, or they no longer can drive. These are major changes as you get older. And we can help with that. Therapy can help talking through, helping you learn how to adjust to these changes. Along with loneliness. We get lonely. And right now we're isolating. And when you've already tend to isolate with depression, now I have to isolate, makes it even worse. And so these are the things that we're seeing, is that they're, they can't get out, they can't do anything. Privileges have been taken away from them that they're used to having, just getting out and being able to do, because I'm now older, I've lost my driver's license, I can't even go to the grocery store, this type of thing.
How do you fight that? How do you fight that sense of feeling limited? I can't drive anymore. I can't go out and have that sense of liberty or freedom that I've been used to having my entire life as an adult.
So these are things that it helps to find ways to cope with that. And sometimes in a group setting, talking with other people, they have ideas like, okay, I can't drive anymore, so I've made arrangements with friends or transportation or my kids to take me here on this day or this time. But it's learning to adjust to those things and getting into that new routine and saying, okay, I can't get out and just go driving when I want, but I can still get out, I can talk to people, I can do things. And coming up with other things like, the grocery store will deliver my groceries to me, so I don't have to go there, which is a good thing right now, but it takes away that privilege of going. So how do you do that? Finding somebody to take you there, finding somebody to help you with, or finding a new way to deal with it. Okay, so I can't go to the grocery store, so when I get my groceries, then I put them away, and I feel like, okay, I've been there, and I do these things. But it's losing those things, and right now we're all dealing with that with, the COVID-19, not being able to get out and do those things. But it's learning new ways to adapt to your situation and finding the best that works for you.
That leads me to another question about mental health just generally. Even in times of relative normal, because I don't know what normal is anymore. But, how can we take daily steps, even in the best of circumstances, to take care of our mental health and to make sure that we're thriving in life and not, constantly focusing on the limitations. I like what you said, that getting older doesn't mean depression is not a part of aging, and it shouldn't be a part of daily life. So how can we do that?
Okay.
Just on a general level.
One of the things is to find a positive routine that works for you. Okay, getting up every day and getting dressed. I've seen some Facebook posts and things like that. I've got 40 pair of pajamas, I need to do laundry. It's like, get up, get dressed, do a routine like you would every day. Eat healthy, drink plenty of water. Get out and get a breath of fresh air and sunshine every day. Don't let isolation rule you. Get out and get a routine that works for you, that makes you feel good, and keep doing it every day. There's days we feel with all the rain and everything that we don't want to get out and do things. These are days you still have to get up, do that routine, because if you don't, you can tend to slide into a bad routine that makes you don't feel good about yourself.
You just reinforce negative behaviors and negative thoughts.
Yeah, and you don't want that. You want to find the positives in life.
I wanted to focus a little bit about around Allen County. We're a rural county, and I think that brings some positives and some negatives around mental health. And I was curious to hear your thoughts about that. What do you think? What are some of the advantages of living in a rural community when it comes to mental health and having that quality of life? And then what are some of the obstacles that we face?
I think some of the advantages of living in a rural area is we know everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, there's people out there that we can get in touch with when we need help. Where, you know, neighbors are helpful and you've got a lot of friends. Some of the negatives are that I don't want people to know I'm depressed. It's this keeping it inside. As an older person, it's like I don't want them to think that I'm, you know, mentally depressed or sad all the time, because then they'll think I can't take care of myself. And so they, you know, we've got people in a rural area that we can count on for help. Our neighbors are always there for us and stuff, and that's an advantage in being in a small town, is you know everybody and everybody knows you, and they tend to check on you a little more.
When you look at how our society talks about mental health and depression, suicide awareness, do you feel like we as a society are improving? How so? Or how do you think the discussion around mental health has changed over the last, 20 or 15 years?
I really feel we're talking about it more. You're seeing commercials on it every day on TV now, several times a day. You know, our community, like the flyers I was putting out on mental health awareness, I was putting around the community, help people just pick it up and they can read it. It was a short read, and then it's like, oh, they're more aware of it. But it's talked about a lot more. Our community, we have the Southeast Kansas Mental Health Division. We have Senior Life Solutions. Last year in the fall, they put on the 13 Reasons to Fly to bring more awareness to suicide prevention. So these are things, and you're just going to keep seeing more and more of this, I think, because it's a bigger issue than we realize. There's a lot more mental illnesses out there than people identify with and don't understand. And I think you're going to start seeing more promotion and more people talking about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When we talk about Mental Health Awareness Month, what's the history of the month, and why is it important to mark just May? And then kind of the flip side of that is May's only got 31 days in it. So what do we do in the other the other 11 months of the year to talk about mental health?
We're still promoting it the 11 months. But Mental Health Awareness Month originated in 1949 by the Mental Health America, and it was to get the word out there, an awareness and educating people on mental health awareness, mental health illnesses, and what you can do for them and how prominent they are. And it has just grown from there. And, like I said, it wasn't talked about a lot. People didn't talk about their mental illnesses, their depression, this type of thing. And now we're starting to, and it's, finding out it's okay to be depressed. It's okay to have mental illnesses because there is treatment available.
And if an older is watching this and says, hey, this sounds great, or I know somebody who would benefit from this service, what do they do? Can they just pick up the phone and call you? Or?
Absolutely. They can pick up the phone. Our phone number is 620-365-1280. That's a direct number into our line. Or they can call the hospital and ask for the Senior Life Solutions. And refer themselves, refer a friend, doctor's referral, nursing homes, assisted livings. It's easy to get into the program.
Does Medicare cover most of the expenses, or is this something that... how do you address the payment side of things? Because I worry about people who don't seek out mental health because they're worried about the costs associated with it.
And one of the nice things that we're seeing now is that insurance programs are covering a lot more mental health care than they used to. Mm-hmm. So it is something that insurance companies now are identifying with, that mental health is a true thing, and they need to be doing this. And yeah, they do help cover outpatient expenses.
Good. Well, thank you, Wanda, for your time.
Thanks for inviting me.
And look for those Feel Good Flamingos.
The Feel Good Flamingos, and paint a rock green and put it out at the bolas. The other thing I'd like to encourage you to do is on Thursday, May 21st, is wear green, take a picture, post it for mental health awareness.
Okay, and that's a
Okay.
specific day?
It's
Dedicated to-
it's a day we picked out that fit in our calendar. So.
And what day is that? I'm sorry.
Thursday, May 21st. It's a day that we're going to wear green for mental health awareness.
So
Next
next week.
Thursday,
Yeah,
next
next
Thursday.
Thursday.
This month's almost half over.
Kind of hard to believe.
So.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Hey,
your
thanks
time.
for inviting me.